I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into the return of the Dissolute Son. It is a terrific book written by a wonderful author. His name is Ian Douglas Robertson. This compelling novel unravels the story of Jason B., a celebrity accused of a terrible crime, and the complex relationship with his former drama teacher, Patrick, who grapples with loyalty and justice. It's a story that explores themes of redemption, loyalty, and the haunting cycles of abuse, leaving readers questioning innocence and self-destruction. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Prime 7 Media for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his amazing book. The links are below this interview. Ian, great to see you here today on Spotlight. Thank you for
Great
joining
to
me.
see you, Logan.
Wonderful to have you on the show. This is quite a story you've come up with. How much of it is based on your real experiences?
Well, quite a lot of it is based on real experience. First of all, the protagonist, Jason, I knew him very well. He was one of my students, not at drama school. He was one of my students in senior high school. He was a lovely boy, very quiet. Uh, eventually, when he became an actor and director, I followed his career. I went to most of his performances and productions. And well, he eventually became artistic director of the National Theatre. So when this whole business of exploded in the media, when Jason, I'm calling him Jason, obviously not his real name, exploded in the media, I was outraged because he was immediately accused of a crime which he had not yet actually been convicted of. He had been charged, yes, and he was eventually put in prison. But the media absolutely devoured him, ate him alive. And this outraged me because there had been no trial. The evidence was very, very flimsy. And I decided that I wanted to write a book about this, to highlight, if you like, the injustice that society as a whole, and the media, of course, can inflict on an individual.
Yeah, you're guilty if the media says you're guilty, no matter what. And a lot of it is to just make the story as compelling as possible. And that's often not very fair, of course, to the person who's accused of a crime and, like you said, has not been convicted. Let me ask you this. Why did you
Yeah.
decide to put it in novelized form as opposed to just writing a story about the actual celebrity?
Well, first of all, I obviously didn't want to mention him, and his actual trial hasn't come up yet.
Hmm.
He actually remained in prison for, I think it was 14 months, and of course, I think after a certain time they are forced to release a person. They can't keep him in prison forever. And his trial actually hasn't come up yet. So obviously, I didn't want to write about a person that I really knew. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
uh,
And the novel lets you fill in parts and use your imagination
exactly,
that you wouldn't
because
be privy to, of course.
exactly. And the
Yeah.
thing is that I may be wrong, but I am convinced he is actually innocent.
Yeah.
And but everybody else, including my wife, believed that he was guilty.
Yeah.
And
Even your wife thinks he's guilty, but you feel he's innocent. The trial hasn't happened yet, so we
exactly,
shall see. We shall see. And I do think
exactly,
putting this in a novel form was a great idea because then you could fill in the puzzle pieces that you might not ever be privy to. And that's what makes it
exactly,
such a compelling story.
exactly.
Let's give
Mhm.
let's give the folks at home an overview of the story that you've written. Tell them a
Yes.
little bit about this crime that Jason is accused of and the relationship with the drama teacher.
Okay, well, as you may know, there was a time in Greece when many refugees came from countries that were, at least many of them were illegal migrants, but we did have a lot of refugees, and in fact, they're still coming in. And with the war now in the Middle East, we're probably going to get even more. So there were a lot of homes, camps, people were trying to support and protect, in a way, the refugees. Now, Jason in the story volunteered um, to work using his theatrical knowledge and skills to work with refugees. Um, Now, as you will see in the story, or those who read the story, he lives a pretty wild life, and I think that the people who are in charge of the refugee camp basically don't want him, so they're trying to find a way of getting rid of him. That's the idea.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Um, so sorry, what was your question again?
We're asking an overview of the story, the crime that he's
Right.
accused of.
Okay. So Jason then, at the beginning of the very start of the novel, Jason has nowhere to turn. I mean, he doesn't want to turn to his to his colleagues, let's say, his artistic colleagues. So he turns to his old teacher, who is in fact pretty much, he's in his late 60s, early 70s, to find refuge. And possibly, we don't really quite know why he turned to. Well, it's pretty complicated. At some point, Jason was kind of rejected by his own parents. His parents divorced, his mother remarried, Jason's father was basically a womanizer, and he totally neglected his son. So when Patrick got to know Jason at drama school, they became very, very close. Obviously not lovers, I don't want to imply that. They were very, very close. And in a way, Patrick kind of adopted Jason.
Right.
Now, Patrick also had a son, Andrew. And Jason and Andrew became very, very close. They were more or less the same age. And as you will see in the novel, I don't want to give too much away.
Absolutely.
Obviously.
We'll save it for the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jason fell in love with Andrew, that is Patrick's son.
Right.
But Andrew did not reciprocate.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are various events for which Jason feels very guilty about. Mm-hmm. I won't give the details. Don't give too much.
Exactly. Those are the broad themes that take place in the book.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what themes in this novel you think will resonate most with readers. I know it has about cycles of abuse, it has about loyalty, it has about justice. Which of those do you think will connect most with readers?
Yeah, I think probably the justice is the thing. I think in many aspects of the novel, the characters are treated unfairly. I mean, apart from what I said about Jason himself, who was accused outright of a crime which we're not sure that he actually committed, as there has been no trial. But I think there are other characters as well within the novel who experience injustice. But I think not necessarily the main theme, but a major theme is, of course, abuse and the cycle of abuse, which is why the subtitle of the book is The Vicious Circle of Abuse. Because we discovered through the novel that Jason had been abused. And, well, actually, sorry, the subtitle of the novel is Breaking the Vicious Circle of Abuse, not The Vicious. And we discover that when Jason's parents divorced, he spent quite a lot. He spent 3 years with his uncle and aunt, and it was actually his uncle who had abused him.
Right.
And okay, the uncle reappears. I won't say anymore.
Yeah, exactly. But
so
yeah,
I would say that okay, it's basically injustice, and the cycle of abuse.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think the aspect of abuse in the novel is very, very compelling and helps you understand the characters better and their motivations, no doubt. And it's very, very real. It's very, very true. People are abused at a young age, and it blows up and sabotages their lives when they least expect it, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there is a major part of the novel is we discover that he had had therapy with Patrick's wife. And we discover a lot. I know most of what of course, a therapist writes should be confidential and should not be. And so, but Patrick decides, possibly against his better judgment, to look at his wife has died, by the way. Yes, Patrick's wife is no longer living. To look at her notes, the notes she took while Jason was in therapy with her. So I think this reveals a lot about Jason, which he had no idea. He didn't know anything about.
That's such an intriguing aspect of it. Your wife is a psychologist and has notes, and it might have the secret to what's going on with his character, and the
Absolutely.
ethical dilemma of doing it. But of course,
there's very much an ethical dilemma there. Yes.
Yeah, without a doubt. Have you envisioned this as a movie? I think it would be a great movie. I mean, it's got, celebrity
I think
characters.
it has most of the elements of a good movie. Yes, I think there are very compelling characters. I think there's a good story and there's a lot of suspense. I've given a lot away now, but I think
I don't think you've given away too much. I think you've given away just
away.
enough to set it up, because that's needed too. But
I
I think it'd be a
very compelling
terrific movie.
characters.
Yeah. I think it'd be a terrific movie, because I think people would love to see this played out on the screen. Yeah, it'd be wonderful.
I think so. I think it's I don't know whether I know when I started to write this novel, people said, don't touch it, don't touch it. It's about abuse. You mustn't touch this novel. But I kept on going because I really felt that there was something deep here and I wanted to get to it.
Yeah.
I mean, often when I write a novel, I really haven't a clue what I'm going to discover. But I write the novel because I want to discover things.
Exactly.
And that's one of my motivations for writing.
Yeah. You live in that space for a while, you create in that space, you live in that character for a while, you understand their brain, their motivations, their actions, a lot like method acting, actually, the novel writing process, without a doubt.
Absolutely. You have to do a lot of research. So you not only learn a lot about the characters, but you also learn a lot about the theme itself.
Without a doubt. The name of the book is The Return of the Dissolute Son. It is written by Ian Douglas Robertson. It is a novel based in part on a real life story, and it is absolutely captivating, absolutely mesmerizing. This novel unravels the story of Jason B., a celebrity accused of a terrible crime, and the complex relationship he has with his former drama teacher, Patrick, who grapples with loyalty and justice. It is a story that explores themes of redemption, loyalty, and the haunting cycles of abuse. Ian, thank you so much for joining me here today on Spotlight.
Well, thank you very much, Logan.
I appreciate your time. Great having you on the show.
This interview extremely easy for me.
Well, I'm glad I was able to do that. You did a great job. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.